everybody. Thanks for joining back in. Great to see you again. Happy November. Today is November 1st. And so we're starting another set of recipes that is going to go great for the holidays. So they're coming right around the corner and we need to be prepared for them, right? So today we're going to make a delicious little recipe that can be used anytime for the holidays or for a luncheon or anything that you do. And these are just simple shortbread cookies. Shortbread is like one of my most favorite kind of cookies to eat. I love the butter and the crispiness of the cookie. On another side, as far as like chocolate chip cookies and things like that, I like them softer. But shortbread cookies, I could just, in the tin, I could eat like the whole thing. Yeah, essentially. So who couldn't? All right, so we're gonna get started. There's only just a few ingredients that we need for this, and it's really simple. So you should be able to make these great activity to do with the kids at home, or it's just a quick kind of go-to if you need something really elegant for a dinner party or the holidays. So first we're gonna start off with some sugar. Now we're gonna need 3/4 of a cup of sugar, all right? So I've got a little quarter measuring cup here because it fits really well in my jar. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put in 3/4 of a cup of just regular white granulated sugar. And then to that, I have some butter. Now I've gone ahead and I've cut it and I've cubed it, and it's 1.5 cups of butter. So 3 sticks, okay? And this is salted butter because I'm not gonna add any additional salt to the recipe. If you have unsalted butter and you'd like to use that, go right ahead and then just add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt to your recipe. But I use salted butter a lot when I'm cooking. So just because that's what I use for other stuff, and I just don't buy separate butter for my baking. So I might just cut down the rations of the salt, but lots of times I can't even tell, so I don't even like adjust it or anything like that, but totally up to you. All right, so 3 sticks of butter or 1.5 cups. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add a little bit of vanilla, and you can do a couple of different things here. Now I have my homemade vanilla. Don't forget to look back at that recipe. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a shake. You can see the vanilla beans and everything right in there. It's, oh my gosh, I just love this. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla to this mix. Now, if you would like to add some maybe almond extract, or you could add some lemon extract, or any of those like really fun different extracts that you can use. You can go ahead and substitute the 1/2 teaspoon of the 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. You could go ahead and add 1/2 teaspoon of whatever flavoring that you would want. Okay, now I also have a pinch of lemon zest here, just a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the mix too. It just gives it a nice light, and it doesn't really taste super lemony, but it just gives it that tint of, I don't know, citrus that really just brings out the butter and everything in the actual shortbread itself. I always like to add just a little pinch of the lemon zest, and that was dried lemon zest. You could use fresh as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start this on low, okay? And I'm gonna just kind of let the sugar and the butter just kind of start to combine together, just so it doesn't make a total mess. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it all the way up on high, and I'm gonna cream this together really well so that it gets nice and airy and fluffy. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cream this together probably for about 3 minutes or so, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna add the last ingredient, which is the flour, so don't go away. All right, thanks for joining back in. This butter has been whipping for, about 3 minutes now, and I wanna show you the consistency of it that you're looking for, because I don't have a glass mixing bowl, so it's kind of hard to tell. All right, so this is the sugar, all right, mixed in with the butter mixture and the vanilla, and then the little pinch of the lemon zest, just to give it a little bit of extra flavor to infuse all the previous flavors together. So it's nice and light and creamy. It is more of kind of not a whipped cream cheese consistency, but it's nice and creamy. It still has a solid form within the mixing bowl. It's not smeared all around the bowl. It's still kind of solid because the butter was nice and cold. And you do want to make sure that your butter is cold, and that's why I cube it ahead of time, just so that it's a little bit easier for it to start mixing with the sugar. If you cube it up into smaller cubes instead of just throwing the whole stick in there, it comes together a lot quicker and you can get that desired consistency that you really want. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna keep it on low, and I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour here. Now I use King Arthur unbleached all-purpose flour, and that seems to work really well. I use that for all of my baking. Shout out to King Arthur Flour. So I just love that store too. Over in Vermont, when I get to go visit it, it's like walking into a candy store for me, definitely. So I'm just adding this kind of 1 spoonful at a time. I just have a small spatula here, just so that it doesn't go everywhere, and so the mix can get very, very well incorporated. Now we're not gonna mix this for a long period of time after the flour gets all mixed in. All you wanna do is you wanna put this in and keep mixing it just until the flour gets incorporated. You don't need to beat it any additional time. Now you've noticed that there's no eggs or anything like that in this mixture. If you're gluten-free and you wanna try some gluten-free flour, you can definitely do that. I have had people make shortbread cookies with the gluten-free flour, where you've got your butter ingredient, and you can go ahead, and this is a great recipe to kind of play around with a little bit. Shortbread cookies are always fun because you can do all kinds of different things with them. You can top them, you can have a little bit of fruit spread on the side, or you can drizzle some chocolate over the top. Completely up to you there. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna keep adding this flour. This takes a little bit of time just to let it incorporate, and don't be afraid your dough is gonna look super stiff and super dry, but it won't be in the end, I promise. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna keep doing this, and then once it's all incorporated in the bowl and all the flour is mixed in well, then we're gonna come back and do our next step. All right, we're back. Thanks a lot for joining back in. It is all mixed together. It looks heavenly, heavenly. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're going to get some plastic wrap, because we're gonna have to chill this back down. It's because of the mixing and all of the processing that we've been doing. The dough is not going to be quite as stiff as what we need it to be. That butter has kind of melted down a little bit. Now it's helped that I've had an aluminum bowl, and the bowl was fairly cold, so that definitely helped in that, but we still need to chill it down. And it's not gonna take too long. So I chill it between 30 minutes and an hour, depending on how quick I need it back to be able to process it, and if I'm in a hurry to go do something, or I need to get to a party or whatever. Okay, so I just have a little bit of flour here, and I'm just gonna lightly dust, like very lightly dust this plastic wrap, okay? Now, you can use powdered sugar if you want to. A lot of people use powdered sugar. I just use flour, just because I've already had it when I've added it in here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of form this with my hands. You can kind of see that it's already pretty much formed. So I want to go ahead and just give it a slight squeeze or two. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of form this a little bit into a log here. And then put it down here, and then I can kind of squeeze it out a little bit more. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna put this to your desired width of how you want your cookie. So if you want your cookie bigger, you want to make your log a little bit higher, a little bit thicker, okay? But mine are gonna be, probably about 2 inches or so, because I have a little press I'm gonna use on it too. You can just go ahead and slice them and bake them if you want, but I'm gonna show you kind of a little bit different way. Okay, so this looks about, because what you want to do is these aren't going to rise. They don't have any like rising ingredient, like a baking powder or anything like that to make them like nice and light and puffy and fluffy, because we don't want them that way. We want them nice and flat and just beautiful and buttery and crispy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make just kind of a little roll out of this. I'm going to go ahead and take my plastic wrap, and then I'm gonna start rolling. Now this is really gonna kind of melt on you because of your hands and the warmth of your hands. Now this looks just like the rolls that you get at the store, you know, like the chocolate chip cookie rolls and the shortbread rolls. So then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna slide your hand across it to even it up. Okay, now this would be great. You could freeze this, okay? Maybe make a few smaller chunks and go ahead and freeze it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to roll it back and forth just to kind of make it into a nice round shape. And you can kind of keep going over it like this. And this is where you can kind of seal it all in. The plastic wrap, get a good plastic wrap. You know the plastic wrap where it sticks to everything, and then when you want it to stick, it doesn't stick to anything. So I have a good plastic wrap, and it's nice and sticky, and it works just perfect. So I'm gonna give this another little roll just like this. This is looking really good, and I'm working like on a nice cold countertop, so that also helps kind of keep this butter in check. So I think I've got pretty much all of the bumps out of this, and it's pretty round, pretty smooth. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop this in the refrigerator, and you're gonna chill it between 30 minutes and an hour, at least 30 minutes, okay? So on that part, don't try to skimp, okay? 30 minutes, you can clean up, you know, do the dishes, do whatever, and then it's time to take it out and go. So we're gonna chill it, we're gonna come back, and then we're gonna do the finishing touch on it. You're not gonna wanna miss that.